However, in the age of white guilt, white blindness has been driven not by racism, but by the white need to dissociate from racism. We may continue. Thank you, Shelby Steele. At Beaver Ridge Elementary School in Norcross, Georgia, a third grader's homework that acknowledges that slavery existed has parents outraged that their children are being taught by teachers dumb enough to think parents wouldn't be outraged.
One problem said each tree had 56 oranges. If 8 slaves picked them equally, then how much would each slave pick? Then there was another. If Frederick got 2 beatings per day, how many beatings did he get in 1 week?
In this one, the teachers were trying to do a cross-curricular activity.
Spokesperson Sloan Roach says the third grade teachers were attempting to cross curriculums, adding some social studies lessons into math problems.
Frederick, as in Frederick Douglass, a slave who the students had been reading about in social studies. So it's not like these, questions are out of context.
Problem with these questions, there's no historical context.
You just gave the context, and you can't do that to me. I don't care.
I'm having to explain to my 8-year-old why slavery or slave or beatings isn't a math problem.
Yeah, it's not February. Besides, if anything, the father should be more concerned that it took his son an entire sentence to write a 7. Apparently they cared enough to try and erase it, but not enough to not half-ass it.
I had to explain to him why Daddy was upset.
Do you hear that, Beaver Ridge? You really should be ashamed of yourselves. Your students don't even know when they're supposed to be offended.
If anyone got any beatings, you don't put that into the homework of any source.
Maybe you show them that Chappelle Show sketch about roots or something, but you do not use math homework. Math is for white people. And Asians.
Kunta Kinte. Damn! Steve! What'd I say about him so hard, man?
I'm sorry, are you all right?
You sorry? I'm gonna show you sorry, man. I'm gonna show you sorry. Whoever put together this paperwork and everything else, the schools and everything, shouldn't teach it this way.
And should go back to the way that made Beaver Ridge the 485th best elementary school in Georgia. Oh, that's my mistake. It's a 3-way tie for 485th. The NAACP is demanding that the teacher who wrote the questions and the 4 teachers who handed the assignment out to their students be fired and, quote, have no future in the teaching profession. If you're wondering if the NAACP is just desperate to bitch about something, no. They're so confident that filling 5 teaching jobs at the 485th best elementary school in Georgia will be a breeze that they're not even letting that concern them. I'm kidding. They don't care. When victimization is identity, then the victim's passionate anger can be called out even when there is no actual victimization. In other words, the victim's anger can be relied on as political force. And while it does seem rather harsh to ruin the career of 5 teachers who have chosen to dedicate their lives to educating young minds, there's no way those 5 teachers aren't racist. The student body at Beaver Ridge Elementary is 4% white. Enough said.
We agree that these questions were not appropriate.
But the larger reality is that white guilt leaves no room for moral choice. It does not depend on the goodwill or the genuine decency of people. It depends on their fear of stigmatization, their fear of being called a racist.
Let me get up there.
The Roots.
Joining us live via satellite is our resident expert on minority affairs, Trevor. What am I on an Indian reservation? Jesus. Find me some Fuji. It's spelled F-U. And then let's get right to it after that. Trevor, if I had made this joke earlier, what would you have said?
Each tree had 56 oranges. If 8 slaves picked them equally, then how much would each slave pick?
What the hell kind of question is that? I thought slaves picked cotton. John, I would have said you're no doubt 137% racist. Really? That's what my Jew producer said, but I didn't believe him. Well, not an actual racist, a neo-racist. Everyone would know you're not actually racist, but admitting that would make them a neo-racist. By jumping to publicly label you as the racist, the people in the media could demonstrate how unracist they are. That guy's the racist, and I called him out for it, so obviously I'm not racist, because I understand how insensitive that thing was. For whatever reason it was insensitive was. What? But slaves did pick cotton. Whoa, I didn't say that. Whatever. How is saying that slaves picked oranges endorsing slavery? Slavery existed. It was terrible, but it happened. It's not like the question said the 8 slaves were picking 56 oranges back in the good old days. Let me ask you this. If the school wasn't trying to send a message of hate to all black people, why not reword the question and avoid the S word altogether? Why not ask, how many oranges did each of the 8 Mexicans pick? 60% of that school was Hispanic. Wouldn't that have offended their parents? So now because 8 Mexicans picked oranges, you think every orange picker in America is Hispanic? But no, it wouldn't offend them. The homework was in English, so... How would you have changed the question so as not to offend all the people who were going to be offended by this? That's a good question. I would just reword it something very simple, like if 8 workers were picking 56 oranges, or you could even use peaches, whatever, how many oranges or peaches would each worker pick before their union contract meant they couldn't pick any more without getting double pay? Is it triple? Is it double or triple? I don't know. I don't follow these things. Whatever happens at Beaver Ridge Elementary, one thing is for certain. Math and history will now be completely separate, but equal. What happened in this story was a test, minorities and white liberals. And according to Shelby Steele and I, you have failed miserably.